Bear Snake, where's Dota?
I'm pretty sure he's breakdancing right now. Yeah, you know what? He's with his piece of cardboard. He's breaking it down. He's popping a lock in. When he's done, he'll come.
Okay. All right, Dota, you have your fun bouncing your booty. We'll go ahead and start Wizard Wednesday. We'll go ahead and get started because it is Wednesday. We are wizards, and it's time for our weekly cult meeting, aka Wizard Wednesday. And damn it, we are just exclamation point magic. Now, our cult is only about 9 months old, but it is already very, very rich in tradition. And I'm seeing these new in group cult signifiers pop up every day. And as indicated by the intro music, my new favorite, although I think it's actually several weeks old, is a dance move called the Impy Shake. Dota, Bear, are you guys familiar with the Impy Shake?
I'm doing it right now. I love it. I laugh every time.
It's so good. It's so good. It really hit me hard today when I was reading the comments on the 3D Wizard and TV said, make him Impy Shake. And I think that's really just the most brilliant reason to make 10,000 3D Wizards, is just so they can all do the Impy Shake. I've decided that all of the rigs, when they're done, they will come with an Impy Shake animation.
Nice.
When that happens, I want to see an absolute deluge of Impy Shakes all across Twitter in the most obnoxious way possible with the hashtag Impy Shake. I also want to see... what's that?
We'll need like a battle simulator, the ultimate battle simulator, which is like all 10,000 wizards at the same time.
Yeah, no, I want to see all of us IRL at NFT NYC doing the Impy Shake on the dance floor. And then I want to see somebody submit a proposal to the House of Wizards to pay Dota to do the Impy Shake. And I'm talking paint himself green, do a full Impy, wear an Impy mask if you want. But I don't know, like Impy Shake in the street, Impy Shake in the coffee shop, Impy Shake on top of a mountain, like wherever.
You just dropped a serious challenge on Dota's
Yeah, I'm gonna be expensive. It's gonna have to go to a lot of baby orphans.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's good stuff. I think it's Magus Wazir who made it, but I honestly don't know.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but yeah, like we've got our own dance though is the thing, so that's amazing. But yeah, we have a really big show today. We probably have more things than we have time to talk about. I want to give an update on beasts. I want to talk about the Book of Lore. Merlin has submitted this. You guys saw the amazing trailer where they.
Oh my god!
Yeah, they built the entire Runiverse in Minecraft. Mind-blowingly good. We want to talk about the House of Wizards and tons of other things. So what if we just start with the Beasts update?
Yeah, don't bury the lead.
Yeah. So I've been drawing Beasts. It's something that I've had the most fun with this. I haven't had this much fun since I drew the Wizards. It's something that I've been begging the team to let me do for months. And so I just want to talk about sort of the aesthetic behind them. The beasts are much larger sprites. They are on a 175 square pixel box. For context, the wizards are on a 50 by 50 pixel box. So that's about 3x the resolution of the wizards. One reason I wanted to make them look this way is because the beasts they're all one of ones. There's no generator involved. And so I wanted them to be obviously handcrafted and extremely unique. The color palette is also richer in these beasts. Narratively, they pull from a huge range of lore throughout history, across the world, from all time periods, from ancient to straight up contemporary. And so, of course, this idea of mixing pop culture, meme culture, and ancient mythology is a part of what Forgotten Runes is all about. Because, as I've said before, today's pop culture is tomorrow's mythology. Today's urban legend is tomorrow's folklore. Today's meme is tomorrow's cultural tradition. And so when we look at it this way, we realize that time is not an arrow, but a wheel. So the Beast lore is very rich. It's full of icons and iconoclasts alike. And then, Dota, do you want to talk about the minting experience for these?
Not yet.
I was gonna say if you're not gonna talk about minting, I just want to say Alf shared some beasts with Dota and I, and like they're like paintings. They're so gorgeous, and I'm just like constantly in awe. Alf, like the skill and the craftsmanship is just on just the next level. It's so great. I'm excited for everybody to see it.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think you guys were like, wait, are these in the same world when you first saw it? But then you heard my explanation, and I think you got accustomed to it. Yeah, I mean they do look very different from the wizards and the souls and the ponies because they're just 3x the resolution.
Yeah, they look different, but they work. And this is something that I've always talked about. I've talked about this for years, which is that like, when Elf and I collaborate on something, you'll send over some new artwork. This has happened for 10 years. You'll send over some new artwork. Well, you talk about something, you send over the artwork. And when I see it, I'm kind of like not ready for it almost. Like I look at it, I'm like, it's so good, but it's like really pushing my boundaries.
Yeah.
And then like I'll sleep on it and the next day I'll be like, I think I like it. And then like I'll like a couple days later I'll be like, this is incredible. Like how come I didn't like this at first? And I sort of like ease into it something. And I think that actually that same thing happened with Beast, which is like when I first saw it, I was like, maybe they're too different. And then like the next morning, you're just like, no, these are incredible. So I can't wait to share them.
Yeah, they're super fun. So yeah, the beasts are coming. And yeah, Dota, we're figuring out the minting process, but I'll let Dota speak about that when he's ready. Bear, do you want to give an update from the bear cave on the beach? I know you're working.
Update from the bear cave.
Yeah, I feel like I need to have. Maybe I'll do a little pre-recorded jingle.
Yeah.
For the update.
We definitely.
If we're gonna do a weekly bear cave update, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Well, I am in the midst of wrestling Hollywood in quotes. We're engaging with the traditional legacy media model, which controls, gatekeeps TV and film. They just move at such a different pace, much slower pace. So I'm sort of trying to think out of the box on how to do something that typically takes way more time than we want it to take. So spending a lot of time doing that, it can be frustrating, but it can also be rewarding. We're meeting with some incredible people. I actually tweeted out at a writer that hopefully we're going to get a meeting with. His name's Cameron Squires. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing this, but I'm doing it because if I can't talk about it with the cult, then who can I talk about it with? And it's been a little difficult to get a meeting with him. But I tweeted out at him because I just kind of got sick of all of the gatekeeping. And so if you guys want to go give that tweet some love, or I don't even know, don't give it love. It doesn't matter. But I'm just like going the very untraditional route when I can to get in touch with the people that we really believe can sort of take the show to where we want it to go. And this guy's he's rewriting, or he's writing the new Star Trek movie. He wrote on a bunch of different shows, including some Marvel TV shows. Anyway, it's like when you aim really high, there's a lot of sort of jumps, a lot of hoops you have to jump through. So I'm spending a lot of time in the bear cave doing that. A lot of merch stuff that we should be able to share something soon. That's kind of the bear cave update. Nothing too crazy this week.
Yeah, the sense I get from what you're going through is like not to extrapolate this into a bigger thing, but one of the dominant features of our age, especially in the last like 5 years, is just the breakdown of institutions, from everything from like the media to government to the entertainment industry. And the entertainment industry has just turned into this bloated, slow moving beast where creativity is the last thing on their mind and profit is the first thing on their mind. And
Yep.
they're so slow moving because of that. And I think that our project is looking to disrupt that in so many ways. We talk about it all the time, but maybe this is a good segue into what Merlin's doing, because Magic Bear Snake and Magic Machine is like, we spend a lot of time trying to move these mountains in legacy media, but Merlin and his team are making mountains. So if you can't move a mountain, just build it. And Merlin, I saw the trailer today and it just blew my mind what you guys have done. So would you like to tell us about your project?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Super excited to be part of the project, be part of the community, and realize Origin and I are super grateful to finally have a way to kind of give back and contribute this project. And I don't even know where to start, but I told him today, I feel like I'm doing 2 full-time jobs, 2 full-time startups. I haven't been sleeping and just been super excited to, I've been sitting on this trailer and the world build for a while. And so I'm just happy to be able to release some of it out to the community.
Can you give us some context, like for folks who maybe, like, let's say someone doesn't even really know what NFT Worlds is, they don't really know how to use it, like, or what the plans are. Could you just give like a high level intro of sort of the context?
Yeah, so NFT Worlds is kind of my second favorite NFT project. And essentially what they did was they got a sort of blessing from Microsoft to use Minecraft as a metaverse platform. And, there's a lot of metaverses out there like Sandbox and, Facebook's doing one and, Decentraland, but basically Minecraft has a 10-year head start. And so there's, 150 million Minecraft users out there monthly. They have a ton of plugins and free, stuff to use. And essentially, they minted 10,000 Minecraft worlds, and they're layering on top of that essentially a token called the World Token and a bunch of other features as well to make it super easy. Because as some of you have probably found out, trying to install Minecraft today is not the easiest to even install and use. And so they're making their own kind of client to make it super easy. Just click on a button and you're in. And so what we're doing, or what me and Realize wanted to do, was essentially to build, or what we did was we hired a team called Team Visionary to basically build out this world. And they were super fast. I mean, there's these builders out there that they've been doing this for 10 years. And so it took them about 5 weeks to do everything that you saw there, which is just mind-blowing to me. And the 3 games that are in there were basically off-the-shelf games that we customized. So we have the pony race, we have the parkour course, and the flight school right now. And we're there's more on the roadmap, but I'm only going to share so much of the roadmap for now.
What I really loved, and we spoke about this a few hours ago, is how, like, the Secret Tower itself, you guys didn't feel the need necessarily to just do a one-to-one perfect representation clone of the Secret Tower on our website. You guys brought your own style and flair to it, and it just looks so good.
Yeah, it was kind of a collaboration. I mentioned this, but we tried to do an exact clone of what was on the website in terms of the Secret Tower, and it just didn't look very good. And so, I was kind of creative directing the guys on Team Visionary, and they kind of came up with the rock, and then I had this idea to infuse it with the purple crystals, especially so at nighttime it looks pretty awesome. And so, yeah, I think that for each metaverse, and we're not the first ones to do this, but each metaverse has its own kind of flavor of what the characters look like, what the buildings look like. Obviously, Minecraft's is pretty blocky. So I think that the wizards are going to be interpreted for each metaverse that they go into. And the other thing I just wanted to mention that I will share from the roadmap is aside from, there's a lot of other stuff that's coming. So every couple of weeks we got something new to surprise you guys with. But one thing that I do want to do as a core thing is basically build the Runiverse in 3D as a community. And so what we're going to do next is basically assign plots of land to each wizard and soul holder. And so you'll be able to have build rights when you're in the game to kind of create whatever you want. And then the second thing is, NFT Worlds is trying to do a lot of play to earn, but that's can be a little complicated, as some people have seen with Axie Infinity. So I think that we're going to stick to in the beginning is create to earn. And what I mean is, there's 10,000 plots and you can build your own stuff. But what we also want to have is a marketplace where you can, first of all, build and sell creations that you have, whether that's like a model or an animal or a building, but also you can buy from other people. And we'll take a percentage of that, and it's a small percentage, and give that to the DAO. The rest will go to the creator.
That's really cool.
That's awesome. You're pushing boundaries, and I love Minecraft just as a general platform. And to have Merlin have you like lead the charge and like put all these bricks on your back to make something that is gonna sort of push forward what it means to build in Minecraft on that platform. It's just so exciting, and just in awe of the dedication and time you're putting into it. So thank you so much.
Very cool. Yep, I love it. Keep building, Merlin, and thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here and happy to be part of this, and thank you guys.
It's so great. Yeah, it's what's really cool is like Merlin is and his team is building a version of the Runiverse. The game that Bisonic and our team is working on is a version of the Runiverse. And then there's versions of the Runiverse that are being built in the Book of Lore and on Twitter. And I was thinking this morning about these archetypes and about just how we're all building this decentralized world together. I was talking to this cult member the other day. They were telling me about some lore they were cooking up for their wizard. And as they were describing it, I realized there's been this peculiar pattern that I've seen pervade across the community and just across all of the lore efforts. And it's this pattern that everything is seeming to sync better than I expected, as if it's all being developed by the same hive mind. Because one question we get asked a lot is, what about continuity? What if separate cult members create lore with contradictory information about the Runiverse? And while that certainly does happen, although I don't think it's a huge problem for reasons I could go into, I've been seeing that more of it seems to be far more, to have far more continuity than I would have expected. This particular cult member was talking about the keys, and one of his wizards has a key, and he wanted to explain why so many wizards have the key of the seventh realm. And it had devised this narrative that they were all copies of the same key. And it's funny because that's exactly how I was thinking about the keys. And I don't want to go too deep into the lore that he's creating. I'll let him reveal it in his own Book of Lore entry. But the point that I'm making is I'm seeing all these separate minds arrive at similar lore, similar stories, and I think that's awesome. And I think that this is happening for a few reasons. One is when I was putting the collection together and naming things, I was deliberately trying to imply connections through the names of the objects and the names on the map and the recurring visual motifs. And so that was sort of the beginning of a mental network. And then the generator that Dota built was able to take art direction through affinity. And so it assembled things in a more narrative prone way. But perhaps even more important than all of that, which is I think there's a lot of like Jungian archetypal patterns forming here. It's like I've said before, if you just build with these archetypes, you've got your whole legendarium laid out before you. And I see the cult leaning into these archetypes knowingly or unknowingly. and it's all being chronicled in the Book of Lore. And then I was thinking about like what's amazing is you've got thousands of years of magical books throughout history that dabbled in this territory. You've got books like The Keys of Solomon, The Witch's Hammer, The Tibetan Book of Dead, The Book of Shadows. All of these are books that attempt to analyze these archetypes and build a bridge into the ethereal realm. And these are all just like uh, attempts by human beings to import magic into the IRL world. And the Forgotten Runes Book of Lore goes beyond what these books did, I think. I think it's more complex because these books are all anchored to a time and a place and a culture. But the Book of Lore is this hive mind global network enlisting thousands of authors, perspectives, and styles. It's ever changing, and at the same time, it's immutable. And it's unique. It's the first document of its kind in magical history. And so in 5, 10, 100, 1,000 years, the Book of Lore will be there, echoing through the ages. And our future selves will look upon it and understand this timeless pursuit of these esoteric archetypes and miraculously reconciling them into this open source omnibus. And I'm just so amazed at the efforts I'm seeing from all of you, from the whole cult. It's really making this decentralized world building effort work. It's working better than I would have imagined, and it's just the beginning, and I can't wait to see where this goes.
One of the interesting things about Jung's writings is some of his, I think it's his like later work. He has writings about the origins of science through alchemy,
Yep.
and it's this idea that kind of within these uh, like magical search for like generating gold through magic actually that science developed from that process of like trying to basically turn lead into gold
Yep.
through all of these like magical means is like how you invent this new creation. And so it's sort of like out of this collective unconscious of these, let's say, like illogical or like mystical like powers comes like one of the most powerful things that we have as in a tool set, which is science. And so this idea of the tension between like magic and technology, or magic being technology, is just so deep.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I was reading this scientific explanation for why people tend to go a little bit crazier during full moons.
Oh,
And there's like actually statistics to back it up. Like crime is a little bit higher during full moons.
really?
Yeah, people are a little more restless, and naturally people want to ascribe magical properties to that. But this explanation I read was like it explained it through terms of evolution and how our like animal ancestors, there was more light during full moon nights. And so naturally, with more light, you can exploit that to either hunt more or gather more food or, you just take advantage of that extra light. And so for millions of years, all life has just been slightly more awake during full moons because there's more light. I think even like a lot of agricultural practices are built around the full moon. And so you take advantage of that light and you harvest and you farm more. So naturally, we're just a little bit more awake one night of the month. And therefore, we're going to get up to things like causing crime and whatever else. But yeah, it's really interesting in analyzing that intersection between science and magic and how it's kind of all the same thing. Um, but yeah,
I don't
anyway,
think I realized until this year that that the cycles of the moon were global. Like I think that I just always thought that they were like time zones, but no, everyone in the world sort of has the exact same phases of the moon, which makes sense. But I just never thought about it until recently.
yeah. um, but yeah, so we have a few other things: the Floor DAO and then House of Wizards. Do you want to hit on one of those?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Floor DAO. So So there's a really interesting project this week. Block Moco has also been involved in it too. I know you're here. If you want to come up and talk about it, you're welcome to. I'll let you request, but I'll talk a little bit about it. So it's a bit DeFi related and it's wizard related. And I want to open by saying like this project isn't by me. It's not by the Magic Machine team. We didn't build. We don't endorse it. Insofar as like I'm not recommending investment advice for this, but I also think it's really cool and super interesting. Okay, so the context for FloorDAO. I'm sure many of you have seen the NFTX Vault. And if you haven't really thought much about it, I can explain what it is. What they basically do with NFTX is you deposit one Forgotten Runes Wizard NFT, and they return back to you an ERC20 token, which I'll call Dollar Wizard. And so if you deposit one Wizard NFT, you get $1 Wizard. And then you can actually trade that Dollar Wizard token on SushiSwap for like ETH, for example. So this is actually a way that we use it in our community quite a lot, where you could actually buy a fractional or a fractional claim on a wizard. It's not quite a fractionalized NFT, but it's basically a protocol that, like, if you wanted to buy half a wizard, or if someone wanted price exposure to the wizard's floor price, for example, you can buy this $wizard token like you might buy any other token on Uniswap or SushiSwap. And again, I want to be clear that this isn't something that was like created by the Magic Machine team. We really are mostly more concerned about this idea of like building the collaborative legendarium and telling stories about wizards and writing the lore in the show. But this is like a financialized aspect that applies to a lot of different NFTs that is used by wizards. So this $wizard token exists, and there is a problem though, which is you have to have someone actually deposit wizards into the NFTX vault and generate these wizard tokens. Otherwise, the prices get off. So the price of this wizard token, like, well, how do they make it match the floor price of a wizard? And what happens is sometimes you may have noticed that the prices get out of sync. Maybe the price on NFTX is let's say 2 ETH for a wizard, and then the floor price for what you can get on OpenSea is 1.5 ETH, right? So it's cheaper on OpenSea. So what you can actually do is you can buy that wizard on OpenSea, deposit it into NFTX, and then sell that token for 2 ETH, and then you get a half ETH profit. Does that make sense? So that's how the NFTX vault works. That's something that's been a part of our community for quite a long time since they set it up. What FloorDAO does is, if you're familiar with the Olympus protocol, kind of the key innovation of the Olympus protocol was what they realized is that the protocol itself needed to own its own liquidity. And so what that means is that the protocol, what happens is typically a protocol requires people to come and provide liquidity so that way you can trade against them. So in this case, NFTX needs someone to provide both wizards and ETH. But what happens if the people who are providing each half of that scale move out? Then it's basically disruptive to the project. So at a high level, FloorDAO is actually an Olympus DAO fork that is designed for buying up providing liquidity for the floor price of various NFT projects. And so we've been fortunate enough to actually be, I believe, the second project. The first one they did was Punks, and then the second one was Wizards. And Block Moco is one of the members of our community who is involved in FloorDAO and also voted to have them support Wizards as part of the protocol. So it's a bit tricky to explain this via voice. Happy to type it out more in the chat. But I think it's a very interesting project. I don't know I'm not recommending a financial return either way of if you should buy those bonds or not. But what's happening right now is you can actually if you deposit the wizard token into FloorDAO and you commit to locking those funds for 5 days, then they issue you the floor token at a discount. So will that be profitable for you? I don't know, but it's a cool project and it's a valuable service to the community, so it's worth looking at.
It's very cool. Bear, did you understand all of that?
I just fell asleep. Was someone talking? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's actually incredible. It made some of it. I understand the basic premise. That's what I'll say.
I know. Like, I'm so glad Dota understands this stuff because I just don't have time for it.
Oh
It's
God.
fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
no. Again, like all three of us, like we each are in our own roles in Magic Machine, and like Bear does a lot that I also just do not want to do. Um, and so like we each like have our own thing, and I'm so glad none of it overlaps.
it makes the stool strong. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, yeah. HenBoyd, I noticed you came up. Did you have a question, comment?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm live here from
Hey,
Mexico.
Hey.
I've got a couple questions that has
yeah.
been stewing on my mind for a couple weeks. First off, to realize Origin and Merlin and Bill Gaines and Acid Eater. I just want to know, like, what's their motivation for doing so much uh, for this community? I mean, I just feel like their generosity has just been unreal, and I've never seen it in any project I've ever been in. And I just wanted to see if they've got any comments about that, and like what's the goal? Because I'm gonna tell you what, I'm just in line with everything that they're doing, and especially derivative art and derivative projects, and it's so inspiring. So that's all I got to say today.
Good question. It's very inspiring. I often have that same question myself. Merlin or Bill Gaines or anybody want to come up and answer?
Yeah, I can give my version. This is Merlin. So when you ask that question, I think about that survey that you guys sent out, where it's you had like why is it the A B C D, and it's really all of the above. I think for me, probably the biggest thing is it's fun. Like I've been having so much fun with this project. Just in the chat, in the community, and then it's more fun because you get to kind of surprise other people with cool stuff and just blow people's minds, which is just I don't know, having fun with other people. There's nothing like that. And then just the creative process. I mean, lore is obviously one kind of creation, and commissioning art is another kind. But for me, like my personal thing is creating digital products and things like this. So I was telling Realize that this is the best thing I've ever created. I mean, it's the thing that I'm most excited about that I've ever created. And so yeah, all of the above. But yeah, adding value to the whole collection, creating a platform for all of us to kind of create the Runiverse in one version of the metaverse. All of the above.
Excellent answer.
Yeah, and Acid Eater in the Discord says, we don't have a mic set up, but we do it for the cult, and that's pretty much it. This community has inspired me more than anything before, and when something inspires me like that, the only thing I feel like I can do is give back.
That's so great.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much, guys. Just that was just a question I had on my mind. I was like, you know what? I feel like we're all on the same page as far as directing positive energy to the cult, and just guessing y'all just reaffirmed my assumptions. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if I could add like a final reason in there, and maybe this is just me, but I do feel like it's this like grand mission. Like it's situated in history. It's like we're carrying the torch from these ancient traditions. And I just think it's I think there's a historical component to it, that it's just this sort of trailblazing, and this oral written tradition. Yeah, I don't know. It's I think we've got a really important mission here, and I'm so glad that I think everybody understands it, and everyone's excited to do it. Okay, what about House of Wizards? Should we talk about that?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So, well, one thing is, remember to vote if you haven't so far. So we sent out a link, I think, in announcements for the snapshot voting. But I think, yeah, so you have until I think tomorrow before that vote closes. I think maybe I just want to talk about the DAO a little bit. So there's some things we can talk about for mechanics, but I think really one of the things we want to kind of do is clarify a little bit about like what the role of this House of Wizards is, and just make sure that like people feel like, it's well understood. So I think the main thing is that like we for sure don't want this organization to detract from anything that's already being done, right? So um, if you're already creating artwork on your own, you should still keep doing that. And I think if people want to operate without the House of Wizards, you're super welcome to do that. I think the really mostly what the organization was kind of as envisioned is really to be a tool for all of the wizards in the community. There's some folks who can afford to create derivative art of their wizard, and some people have like the time and the art skills, and there are other people that don't. And so, really, just the idea is like being a piece of infrastructure that like can help support people when they want to create derivative art. So I think that's really like the main idea of like what we're trying to do, and I think we're definitely figuring out as a group kind of um, all of the different ways, like how do we communicate how the funds are spent, how do we kind of thread the needle between you know complete decentralization where every time you vote everyone has to make an on-chain transaction, which is like very cumbersome and heavy, right, to complete centralization where it's just a magic machine deciding how to spend money, which is fine because we're benevolent, but at the same time it's like not very like democratic. So I think what this organization is doing is, we've got these 9 folks who are at the moment kind of volunteering their time to help organize, help spend these funds in a way that's like helpful for the community. So yeah, I think, and we're trying to kind of be super transparent about it and develop those processes as we go. So yeah, we've got a couple of council members up on here. Bam Bam, you're here. Maph, I don't know if you guys want to add anything to
Hi.
that. Hi.
Hey. So, yeah, I think I really appreciate everything that all the input that people have been giving so far. Yeah, like Dota said, I think this is all meant to be for us to, have something additive to our community, right? It's like all the stuff that happened so far is like pretty incredible that it already has, but this hopefully unlocks us to do even more. We don't want it to be super bureaucratic, and that's why there's some of these, like ministries and stuff like that in place. But I think really like we're just aimed at trying to like expand the Runiverse, and how can we do that together. So appreciate you guys giving all of your opinions on House of Wizards channel. So let's keep doing that. And then if people want to volunteer to take charge for certain things, I think that's really how we're going to be able to like 10x our powers, because we're only, well, even though we're 9 people, like we are a big cult, right? And there's a lot of things we want to do. And I think a lot of people are super understanding that some stuff is just going to take time. And you're right, like right now it is more centralized while we're just setting things up, but we do want to shape it with you. One thing I did want to share is just about like voting cadence in general. One thing that we talked about is we don't want people to have voting fatigue. So if there's any misunderstanding about how the art proposals will work, it's not like we have to vote on every single project. If it's like a really big project that has like a ton of ETH being spent, then potentially yes. But that's sort of why the ministries exist, and that's sort of why there's only one ministry for now, but there will be others as we go. So, but in terms of voting, we want to make sure that it's easy for us all. So, something that we're talking about right now is having voting happen basically on a monthly cadence. So, whatever proposals want to come forward and whatever things we want to vote on, we'll do it sort of at the top of each month so that we know, like, okay, got to pay our rent. And then we also got to vote for whatever we're voting on. And every quarter, we'll sort of be voting on what ministries get how much money. And then every month, it's going to be sort of like smaller items or different different initiatives to build out the organization more. So that's still, I know, pretty like vague, but we just thought this is one way that we can just, as a community, get used to voting. And just so we all have like a monthly cadence of like thinking about the stuff as we go. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Just didn't want to have like vote here, vote there, like all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can talk a little bit about this. I think one of the things that's important to think about is why, why does this group have any legitimacy? And I think in the beginning, it's sort of like it doesn't. It has to be kind of earned. really anyone. Part of the great things about NFTs and about crypto culture is that anyone is allowed to do anything with the tokens that abide by the rules on the blockchain. And so in this case, what you have is basically 9 people who decided to come together and group on a multi-sig, which is a wallet. And then you have someone else and other people who are giving money to that multi-sig. And so, it's perfectly acceptable for anyone who's listening in to sort of start a multi-sig and then seek out funding by whatever means you choose, right? And so in this case, what we have is a group of 9 people who've said, hey, we're going to group together and we're going to try to organize, growing the FRWC brand, like growing the Runiverse, being able to help people create, and trying to be transparent and accountable to the community in doing so. And so that said, we definitely see that this council could grow in sort of its resources over the longer term. And so the way that we've been thinking about it is we have the Forgotten Council signs the multisig on the, let's call it the bigger wallet, right? And then so that way we don't have to have everyone voting all the time, especially let's say we're doing smaller art commissions that are a few $100s, right? We should be able to delegate as a community to just say okay, we trust, Chuck to make that decision. We've seen the stuff that he approves and organizes. We're going to give him, some limited number of dollars, right? Like $20,000. We know that we can trust him with that, and we're going to see how he spends it. And it'll basically be at someone's discretion, at that level. 1 or 2 people can just kind of choose to, and I think a lot of times with these organizations, it comes off as being prestigious, but in reality, it's actually quite a lot of janitorial work. It's quite a lot of hours, quite a lot of organization is for essentially volunteer. And so I think one of the things we're thinking about is that the big wallet is managed by the Forgotten Council, but then smaller DAOs can have a purpose that they want to organize and then propose that they should get those funds. So the first one that we've talked about is the Ministry of Art, right? The idea is I don't know the exact number, but we said give them 10 ETH as a budget and say, hey, you can spend that 10 ETH on really whatever you want. We set up a form, people can apply. We'll send out a URL, so anyone who's listening in, if you want this ministry to pay for your commission, they'll do it. But if you're saying I think we should do a webcomic, I think we should do billboards, I think we should do, some other, there should be a commission where someone collects art to try to make money for the DAO. We say that's great, you should totally do that. But I think what's important is if you have this idea, it also needs to be paired with someone who's actually going to execute it. And so maybe it does make sense for someone to, flip NFTs on behalf of the DAO, and you need 10 ETH to do that. Make a proposal, submit it, and and then we'll kind of decide as a community to fund it. And so this Ministry of Art is really just supposed to be a tool for getting commissions created in the near term, but then of course we'll want to support other things as we grow.
I just got one thing to say, and I don't know, you guys are so docile and kind of cool and calm collective, the devs, that I just think this is absolutely amazing that we have got this DAO and funded so well. I've never seen anything like this in my life, and I just think we've got something really special here, and it's magic. And I really appreciate everybody that's donating their time and energy and money and everything for this, because it's just something I've never seen before, and I think it's the start of something amazing.
I totally agree. I concur. It's really something. It's something special. Thank you for saying that.
I agree too. I'm so impressed with the House of Wizards.
Realize Origin came up. Hello.
Oh, Toro the Video Ghost.
That was actually an accident, but I just wanted to echo what Merlin said. I just wanted to echo what Merlin said, that this is the most fun we've been having as adults, kind of playing in a kid's world, and we've got to get out of our seriousness of our daily lives, and so we've been really happy just adding value to the community and trying to participate like this project wants us to do. So we're just happy to be here. That's it.
Thanks. We're
Awesome.
happy you're here too. Yeah.
I'm
No,
just glad someone else feels like a kid in a candy shop too. I mean, that's
exactly.
what, like, going to the office or every single day. It's like, it's such a blessing. I can't even believe we get to do this every day. It's incredible.
Yeah, so much of this project for me is like chasing after that feeling I felt when I was young and I like opened my first pack of Magic cards, or like you get a new box, or like I was like playing MUDs online with my friends, or we do like a LAN party playing like Warcraft 2. Like I just such good memories, and I feel like we're able to recreate a lot of those things.
it really is. It's something that I go back and forth with. Like for example, we're always brainstorming like what's our next like merch item, and I'm always trying to do these like callbacks to the 80s and 90s, which was like my childhood. And then I'm like, wait, why do I constantly have to hit this nostalgia key? Why don't I do something for the young audience today? But then I realized, wait, I don't think our audience is actually young. I think they're all my age and they love the nostalgia. So
Yeah, and
I
I
don't know.
don't, and for me, it's like less about like nostalgia for those artifacts and more about just like rediscovering that feeling of like delight.
But like Bear Snake, you made that illustration of that wizard playing like an NES video game.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, you could have easily put like made it like a PlayStation 5, but it's like it was like an old 8-bit game, and I think it was more powerful.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo what everybody's saying, it's like I remember having Atari. I remember getting my first NES and just playing it until my eyes bled because it was just magic in a box. I didn't even understand how it worked, but I knew it made me feel a way. And I think if we can build something that just captures just a fraction of that, and have people in the cult add their piece to it, then all of a sudden, we're getting to vicariously live through ourselves and our wizards. I mean, I think you hear NFTs talk about community and the project and what it means and spreading love, and I love the positivity. But like, so I forget who it was, but someone I think it was like Poopy from Doodles, was saying like talking about community is almost a cop out at this point because it's easy to talk about community, um, and sort of like shape it with your words, into what it represents, but like the doors are open. The cult is creating, like if you talk about community, like we truly have what I think we've built, like a version of what's so special about Web3 and about what's going on sort of this playing field. It's really really unique.
Yeah, yeah. No, it goes back to the beginning, like things like the Impy Shake. Like I love that Magic Machine did not create the Impy Shake. The cult did, and the cult creates so many great things that we do not. More, they do more than we do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what community's about.
Speaking of
I
something we are doing, though, did you want to touch on 3D Wizards? I realized we actually didn't talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah. I actually want to say a few things about 3D Wizards, and sort of a segue from what we were just talking about, the whole nostalgia thing. And I'm just curious. DM me with your answer for this. But one thing I wanted to do was make them in the style of like PlayStation 1 Final Fantasy 7 characters, like this super low poly, blocky characters. I love that style, but I think that's probably my just pure nostalgia speaking. And then Dota was like, no, that's like held as the epitome of bad 3D. Why would we do that?
Yeah.
and and so I don't know. Like I don't know how the rest of the cult would react if we dropped 3D Wizards in that style. I'm sure some would love it and some would hate it. Bear, I think your son was like, or maybe Dota was yours. They were like, no way, do not do that.
Yeah, my son likes the style that you went with.
Okay.
I also think like you said, like some people are gonna like some things and some people aren't. The beauty is like we're gonna drop these 3D wizards, and it doesn't mean we can't do other 3D wizards. That's
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
the beauty.
Right.
Like we can do 1,000 different versions. It doesn't matter. And
For
then
sure.
and then as a wizard holder, you can choose which one you like. And so I think it's not so black and white.
Yep, agree. Yeah, and another thing I wanted to say about it is, yeah, it's there's a personal like pet peeve of mine that I see all across Twitter where other projects they show these 3D models and they're like, these are metaverse ready models, and I look at them and they're like super high res, not rigged. They're like a composite render. They're not a real time render. And I'm just like, no, those are not metaverse ready. That model will not run in a game engine, especially a web game engine. And so I just want to brag and say ours is actually metaverse ready. These are game engine ready assets.
I
Um,
retweeted our tweet and
yeah,
said something
yeah,
to the same effect. It's like, I think understanding, and this is where like the depth of experience comes, and at the danger of inflating Elf's ego too much. Like he and Dota also with games. It's like, but from like a art perspective, from a sculpting modeling perspective, these things need to be able, like, there's like technical specs that you need to recognize and adhere to for people to actually use them. And so like one of them is like, okay, you should be able to play with these on your phone if
yep,
there's a right interface. And you just can't do certain things with certain models. And so we're trying to create and build in as much utility into these things so that you can actually use them. And I think that's the guiding force.
yep, yep. Yeah, and I think we have a lore read today from, let's see, what is their name?
Celeste of the Anthenium.
Yes, at Dragon Fetus Zero. So if you're scheduled, Celeste of the Anthenium, just put in a request and we will. Oh wait, is that them? Let's see. Yes, there it is. There's Dragon Fetus. Dragon Fetus, hello.
For Celeste of the Anthenium, which is number 1881.
Excellent. I love that you have the back view of your wizard as your PvP. That's the first I've seen a back view being used.
Yeah, I think I liked it stylistically just like this.
Yeah, it's very cool. Okay, yeah, whenever you're ready.
So Celeste was born to a working family in the heart of the Red Wizard capital. Always free-minded and strong-willed, she learned at an early age that her words could easily scorch others. So she held her tongue to contain the fire from burning hearts. And through her skill with enchantment was innate. The intensity of her power kept her fearful of herself and distant from others during her youth. Worsened yet by the death of her father, which made her swear off magic entirely, as she was blamed herself for years on end. However, luck would not be on her side for that wish. As we all know, a wizard cannot so easily give up their gift. A dark entity saw this as an opportunity to gain a foothold into this world, awaiting the perfect opportunity to take control of Celeste. Subtly using her magic, without her awareness, to eliminate any joy within her life. Her family quickly lost status among the other red wizards, and her mother often left her at the Anthenium for free childcare. Many years would pass, and Celeste could not shake her curiosity for books, finding them as one of the only escapes for the loneliness of being a non-magic user who seemed to be surrounded by pain and suffocated by guilt. As she read, this demon that attached itself to her absorbed countless teachings from masters seldom remembered who created runes long forgotten. Until the fateful day came, the eve of her father's commemoration. This is when the demon chose to attack, revealing its true form and its cultivated power. Howbeit, when the demon came out of hiding, many years of the secret knowledge Celeste absorbed and had buried within her mind was now hers as well. An intense battle raged on in a timeless space for many days, both unable to best the other. Celeste, feeling more powerful than she has ever felt in her life, eventually found the answer to this riddle. Burn the demon with the truth, combating the cold lies it spread in her head. Now easily outmatching her foe, she was left with power, anger, and choice. Scatter the demon's intelligence into the void and give up her magic for good, or let it win, allowing it to spread turmoil across the land while retaining the feeling of self-worth she so desperately searched for. Never holding anyone's belief above her own, she constructed a third answer, not found in any of the stories from the Anthenium. Out of pure revolt against the destiny others would set for her, she reclaimed her fate and title of wizard in the aftermath of the battle, as she was able to entrap the demon in her white rat, cursing it to tell the truth whenever she asks. No longer fearful of her power, she says she only survived that day because of her starred heart. Not because of her starred heart, but because of hope. Hope that one day she would feel the self-love she thought died with her father. Celeste is now traveling the lands, helping others create new ways of battling the darkness, finding bits of self-love along the way.
But the demon is inside the rat. Is the rat demon causing havoc now?
I think it's more like it's trapped inside there, so she uses it. Yeah, she uses it as like a, I guess like capturing the demon's power.
That's great.
I'd seen your artwork before, but I never noticed the demon until you were reading it.
Yeah, I know. I liked it.
I also like that this is the first story I've heard of a wizard baby actually grown up.
Yes, yeah.
An orphan wizard baby at that.
I actually wrote that before the Orphans came out, and so I was actually really happy when the Orphans came out too.
Yeah, Dota, we need to figure out how to get the orphan babies into their own book.
All right.
All right. Well, we have 1 minute left. Thank you, Dragon Fetus. That was great. Any other questions, comments?
Today went fast. Gosh.
It did. Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yep. I always feel like we need like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Okay. Well, everybody, this has been Elf, Dota, TV, Bam Bam Bear Snake, Seeker, Merlin, Dragon Fetus, and to my good friend Harlow. I'm still waiting on that drawing. Let's all Impy Shake out from the Quantum Downs.
Impy Shake.
Good night.
Hello.
GN, everybody.